Hey everybody, this is Kathy from KJB Handmade, and I wanted to welcome you to my video tutorial for the KJB wallet. This is a raw edge wallet pattern, and it is great for using materials, raw edge materials such as cork, vinyl, or leather, and you can optionally edge paint matching colors, contrasting colors. You can have a lot of fun with edge painting this wallet. You can also see that I added an embroidery panel to the front of this one. The inside has an ID window. It has 3 card slots here, 2 pockets. The back has a zipper pocket. And one thing that I think is really neat, not only is this a wallet, if you are traveling and you need to take your passport, it also fits a passport. So you can keep all of that all in one place, which I think isn't just a really cool added bonus. So this one, you can see that I used contrasting edge paint. This one here on this silver one, I used silver glittery edge paint. This edge paint is from Mojo Sews. And this is also, again, made out of cork, with the pocket in the back. And then this is the one that I make here in the video today. Again, this is cork. I love this, so pretty. And I've used variegated thread, which makes it also a lot of fun. Okay, so that is the KJB wallet. Let's go ahead and go over the pieces we need, and let's get started. All right, so let's go over the pieces that we're going to need to make this wallet. You will need 2 of your main panels. This is for the outer and for the lining. One of them will have, there is a mark for you to cut out your zipper pocket, so you will need to cut that out of one of them. You will also need 2 pieces, and these are going to be the sides where the card slots will be. You will have your card slots here. So you have 2, and then 1 that will be the front piece. You will also need a piece of clear vinyl for your ID window, your zipper, of course, and then 2 sets of fashion snaps or spring snaps. You could also use the plastic snaps from cam snaps. Those work as well. Really, whatever you have on hand that works, as long as it works with the material you chose. The other thing you're going to need is, I recommend a piece of Decaville Heavy, and there is a pattern piece for this, so you know how to cut that out. You will need some sort of hole punch so that we can attach the snaps. Of course, a pen if you need to mark anything, some double-sided tape, or some glue, and that is about it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first piece we're going to work on here is the card slot. You're going to take one of your interior side B pieces, and along the longer edge, you're going to mark a line down the center. Here I used chalk just to show where that center mark was, and then I took my clear ID window. I put a little piece of double-sided tape just on this side to help hold it in place. And there is a measurement for how far over from the center line that you want to align your ID window. So once you get that in place, what we're going to do is we're going to stitch around the 3 sides, leaving this one here open. Okay, so there's what that is looking like. This is where you will put your ID in. This way, we are now going to fold this panel in half, wrong sides together. So we're folding right on that fold line, matching up all of the sides, the raw edges there. And then we're going to top stitch down at 1/8 of an inch from this folded edge. We're just going to top stitch all the way down. All right, once you have that done, We can set this to the side for now. One side note I will add is that if you are adding snaps and you don't want them to be visible on the outside of your wallet, you could attach 1/2 of your snaps through this panel, and I would recommend just doing it through this top panel so that it doesn't get caught up on your pocket on the other side. You can install the snaps here according to, there's a measurement in the pattern for how far in and up you want to attach them. I would also put a piece of Decoville Heavy on the back just to help give that some support, and then you would have hidden snaps on the front. And I will show that part again once we do once we get further along in the assembly of this wallet. Okay, so we can set this to the side for now. We are now going to work on our other card slot. So what I've done is I have marked the center line again. Then there's a measurement for how far over to the right you want to mark your second line. And then there are measurements for how far up you're going to make your 3 lines. So there's a measurement here, and then 2 more measurements for those. So these are all just guides so that we know where we want to put our card slots. Okay, so taking your 2 card slots that have the angled sides on them, we are going to attach those first. I'm going to put a little piece of double-sided tape here on the bottom, and removing that paper backing, I'm going to align it with that top line that I marked and the side up here with this line here. Okay, so you should line up with this line, and then you want it sitting right on top of that line. We're just going to stitch straight across the bottom. Okay, so that is your first card slot attached. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other card slot that is the same shape. Piece of double-sided tape on the bottom. And I will say, this is a great, since this is a raw edge pattern, this is a great time if you wanted to edge coat your pocket pieces. You could do that now before it is assembled. If you wanted to do that, you would just do that first. Make sure they're dry, and then come back here and do this step. A lot of times I won't edge paint my pockets on the inside, and I'll just edge paint around the outside when I'm all done. So that's just personal preference, whatever you would like. Okay, so now that we have that second card slot attached, now what we need to do is attach our remaining card slot, which is our front card slot. So that is the one that looks like this. And for this one, I will put double-sided tape on the sides. And on the bottom, just to help hold it all in place. Again, you don't have to do this. You could use glue, or you could just hold it down with your fingers if you feel confident enough that it's not going to slip around anywhere. I just really like double-sided tape. So I'm going to use it. Okay, and then that one's going to get lined up with this bottom line here. And again, aligning it on the side. So all your card slots should line up side to side. Mine might look a little bit off, but that's because I offset the pattern print when I cut it, just to make it a little bit easier to see that there were 3 card slots, but they do line up perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stitching here, all the way around here, across the bottom, and then back up to the top, and that's going to attach all of my card slots to this panel. Okay, once your card slots are attached, we are going to fold this panel in half, just like so. Again, folding on that center line that we made. And we're going to top stitch just like we did on the other side. We're going to top stitch on this folded edge. All right, I'm just rubbing that chalk off. I'll probably just get like a little wet cloth and just gently wipe the rest of that off so you won't see it. But there is how our card slot side is looking. All right, the last thing that we have to do here now is attach the two sides of the snaps into this side pocket. So we're only going to be putting it through this single layer here, and that's because we don't want it to interfere with the back of our pocket. So I've already marked the spots where the snaps need to go. Let's see. So here on this one, just going to punch a hole. And then I have also already cut a piece of Decoville Heavy that I'm just going to use as some extra support. So grabbing this piece, I'm going to put the Decoville Heavy on top of that. And then I'm going to put it through the hole. And then grabbing the other piece here. That's how it's going to look. And then I have a very heavy cam press. So I'm going to, I've already set it up. I'm going to set it on there and set the snap. Okay, we'll do the same thing for the other snap. All right, and there are our two snaps attached. So this side pocket is now done and we can move on to the exterior. All right, so we're going to work on our exterior panel. This is where we're going to put our coin slot. So if you have not cut out your piece yet, you just want to make sure that this is the top, this is the bottom, and the hole is on the left side because your wallet will close like this. And so you want this to be on the back side. Now, if you're adding a logo label, that's really personal preference as to where you want it. I might recommend if you're orienting your wallet this way, you could stick it centered under the pocket. You could also stick it here on the front. I probably would put it here if you're going to orient your wallet this way. I probably would center it here on the bottom of the front, but really that's personal preference. I also have small little woven labels that I like to add to the inside sometimes. So like I said, personal preference as to where you put your logo label. Now to install the zipper, what you need is your double-sided tape, your length of zipper. Now again, remembering that this should be on the left side and this is the top. So flipping it over, again, still the top. So when you lay down your zipper, and I'm actually going to add some double-sided tape to my zipper. When you lay it down, you want the end of your zipper tape that opens and closes. So if you look at your zipper pull, the part that's rounded, that's where it's going to open and close. So you want that towards the top of your panel. So you want to flip it over that way. So I am going to, let's see, I'm going to push this out of the way, remove the paper backing. Okay, and then taking this, flipping it back over, I'm just going to center it. I want it centered over the opening. Pulling the zipper pull out of the way. So you want it to look something like this with the zipper pull to the top this way. Okay, and then this is what it looks like on the back. We will trim this up a little bit to keep this out of the seam allowance. I just wanted to give a little extra length so that we didn't have to worry about it when we were stitching it on. I didn't want it to be too short. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to top stitch all the way around the outside of this box. All right, and I have left some long tails because I want to pull mine through to the back side and then tie it off in the back. That will give a nice, clean, finished look on the front side, and no one will be any the wiser of where I started and stopped my stitching lines. Okay, so once you get those pulled through, I just split them 2 and 2, tie them into a couple knots here. There we go. And you can tie them off, cut them off. You can add a little piece of glue or super glue, anything like that if you want to tie them, maybe freight check to help hold them in place. Okay, but that is what your zipper pocket looks like on the back. Now flipping it back over to the front side. Here, let me zoom out just a little bit here. All right, flipping it back over to the front side, we are now going to take, or sorry, to the back side. We're going to take our piece of Decoville Heavy and we're going to attach it here to the right side. Sorry, to the left side. I'm backwards. So wrong side of the panel, attaching the Decoville Heavy to the left side, so not where the pocket is, but over on this side, we're just going to heat press that right in place. All right, once that is attached, now I'm just going to lift up the end of this zipper tape and trim it off by about half. I just want to keep it out of the seam allowance there at the end. So, like I said, it's really personal preference for you as to how far back you trim it. I would go about half, like I said, just to keep it out of the seam allowance, but still leave some zipper there so that it doesn't fray and come apart. And just for a little extra security, I'm going to lightly singe the ends to help encourage it to not fray. There we go. All right, so that is how that is looking. Okay, now we are ready to put this all together. All right, so to finish this wallet up, we're going to take our remaining main panel. We're going to take our card piece that has the 3 card slots, and we're going to align it on the right side. So we're matching up the 3 raw edges here and clipping in place. You want your folded edge that was top stitched, you want that here to the center. Okay, I'm just going to add a couple clips here to hold it in place. There we go. Okay, and then you're going to take your ID window piece and you're going to do the same on this side. So now this is what I was saying earlier about if you did not want your imagine, if you will, it's all put together. If you did not want your snaps to show on the front, you could just install the other half of the snaps here using the same measurement and placement marks and put it in here. And then with only going through this layer, you would not have that seen on the inside of the pocket, and nothing would get caught when you're putting stuff into the wallet. So that is up to you. I do want my snaps to be seen on the outside. I think that's a neat design feature, so I'm going to wait and do those at the end. So I'm just clipping these all in place. So this is what it looks like. Okay, now we're going to take our exterior, flip it over so that the Decaville Heavy's on the left, zipper's on the right, and we're just going to place this down on top, just like that. And then we're going to align all the raw edges. So all the sides, tops, bottoms, left, right. Clip it in place. Okay, and then I'll lay it over this way to see how it's looking. We will do a final trim at the end, so if it is slightly off, I'm not too worried about that. I just want to make sure that it is as close as I can get it. And that is looking pretty good, if you ask me. So flipping it back over to this side, the last thing I want to do now is just draw a line, and I'm going to use my chalk pen again. It's about a 1-inch gap here in the middle. So about halfway over, just want to draw a line kind of down the center. And we're going to stitch down that line as well. So that does two things. It gives it a nice fold. So when you close your wallet, it naturally wants to fold there. But also on the back, because we'll have that line here, that closes our pocket. So when you open your zipper pocket, you won't have stuff going into the other half of the wallet. Everything will stay on the pocket side. So that's good, right? Okay, now the last thing we need to do is just top stitch all the way around. And what I like to do is, imagine this is the front. You don't have to imagine it. But this is the front, and so this is the back. So I will start right around close to where this line is, and that's because I'm going to come all the way around and then I'm going to stitch up, and that just prevents me from having to start and stop multiple times. So I'm going to get it in there as close as I can. Maybe like a stitch behind that center line, so a stitch to the back. And then I'm just going to top stitch all the way around the wallet. And I will say, just a little side note, that sometimes your foot might want to push the material, which for whatever reason mine is wanting to do right now. So if you want to do something to help prevent that, you could always use double-sided tape on the back here. Let me stop there. So on the back side, just double-sided tape or a small bead of glue to help hold that in place to the main panel there. Then you won't have to worry about that. And once you come around to where these snaps are, I definitely recommend using a narrow foot to get around that hardware. You could also use magnetic snaps, magnetic rivet snaps, in which case you would have that showing. The other half of the rivet snap would be on the back side, which means you would not have to put these snaps on first, which would make stitching this a little easier, just as another option for you to consider when you're choosing your snaps. Let's see, let me make sure I don't go too far here. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over to my cutting board, and I'm going to trim these, the raw edges back. So that's going to do two things. I'm going to trim it back to about 1/8 of an inch It's going to make sure everything is nice and even, and also give me clean sides for edge painting. All right, so the very last thing we have to do here is just install the snaps on the other side. And while there are measurements provided, what I like to do is I will just fold the wallet in half, make sure my corners are nice and lined up here, and then just kind of press it. Like give it a really strong press for a second or two, and then that should give you an indent. You can see it right there. An indent so that I know where I need to punch my hole for the snap. So I'm going to punch that one. Okay, and then just like I did for the other side, I do not need to use any form of stabilizer on the inside because I'm going through 4 layers of cork here, and that should be plenty stable. So I put the snap through. Again, depending on whatever type of snap system you're using, you'll just follow the manufacturer's instructions for that. I'm using fashion spring snaps for mine. Okay, so there's that one. And then, again, lining up this corner, giving it a strong press, and marking that center. I just want to make sure, again, just want to squeeze it, make sure it's in the right spot. All right, and then again, the front of the snap goes on the outside, and on the inside, you have the inside of your snap, obviously. Outside, outside, inside, inside. There we go. All right, snaps are installed. Here is our ID wallets and windows. One thing that I really like about this wallet also is that it does fit a passport. So if you are traveling and you need to take your passport with you, you can just stick it in that pocket there, and you are good to go. I hope you just really have a lot of fun with this wallet. Experiment, do applique, do embroidery. You can use panels, things like that. It would make it really a lot of fun. And when you do make your wallets, please share them in my group. I love to see what you make. It inspires me, and it inspires other sewists. So, all right, guys, that's it. Hopefully you have a great day, and go sew something fun.